Sarah had never been a fan of antique shops, but something about the little store on Willow Street called to her. It was a small brick building with faded signage and dusty windows. Emily, her 7-year-old daughter, clung to her side as they stepped inside. The place smelled like time-old wood, forgotten paper, and something faintly sweet, like rotting flowers. Rows of shelves held clocks, candlesticks, jewelry boxes, and vintage toys. Sarah was about to turn around and leave when the shopkeeper appeared, a thin woman with a bun so tight it looked painful, her eyes sharp and colorless. "Looking for something special?" she asked, her voice dry like crumpled paper. "Just browsing," Sarah replied. "Maybe something for my daughter's room. Something vintage." The woman turned without a word and disappeared behind a heavy velvet curtain. Moments later, she returned holding a porcelain doll. It had golden curls, a blue lace dress, and eyes an unnatural shade of green. "She's been waiting," the woman whispered, offering the doll to Emily. Emily frowned. "I don't like it." "She just needs a friend," the woman said. Sarah hesitated. There was something unsettling about the doll. Still, it was free, and oddly beautiful. "We'll take her," Sarah said that night. Emily didn't want the doll in her room. "She looks at me when I sleep," she muttered, hiding under her blanket. Sarah placed the doll high on a shelf. "She's just a toy, sweetheart." But around 2 a.m., Sarah awoke to static from the baby monitor. A woman's voice, soft, tired, was whispering, "I missed you." Panicked, Sarah ran to Emily's room. The doll was no longer on the shelf. It was sitting at the edge of the bed. Emily was awake, eyes wide. "She said she used to live here," Emily whispered. "She said I look like her." The next day, Sarah tried to throw the doll away. She placed it in the outside trash can. That evening, the doll was back, sitting quietly on the shelf. Sarah returned to the antique store, only to find it boarded up with a faded for lease sign. A neighbor told her the place had burned down years ago. Emily changed. She became quiet, withdrawn. She wouldn't sleep in her room. She wouldn't speak to other kids. The doll began appearing in odd places, on the stairs, by the fireplace, once even in Sarah's bed. Sarah was losing sleep, hearing whispers at night, sometimes sobbing coming from the basement. Desperate, she began researching. In the town library, she found a yellowed newspaper clipping from 1952. Child disappears in fire, mother hospitalized. Local girl Lillian Grace, age 7, vanished during a fire that destroyed her family home. Mother, Abigail Grace, was found unconscious but survived. Doll believed to have belonged to the missing girl. The photo in the article showed the exact same doll. Sarah gasped. Her hands trembled. The doll in her home once belonged to a child who died 70 years ago. That night, the basement door creaked open on its own. Sarah, holding a flashlight, descended the stairs. The air was cold. Something moved in the shadows. The doll was sitting atop a wooden chest. Sarah opened it slowly and found old toys, a melted locket, and a small, scorched journal. She flipped through the brittle pages. Childish handwriting. One page read, "Mommy doesn't hear me when I cry. The fire is getting closer. I'm scared. Why won't she open the door?" Sarah felt tears roll down her cheeks. Another page said, "I won't leave until she says sorry." A loud bang echoed through the basement. Sarah spun around. The doll was no longer on the chest. It was behind her. Standing. Sarah couldn't breathe. She ran upstairs, slamming the basement door shut. That night, Emily screamed in her sleep. "She says you're not my real mommy. She says she wants her own back." The doll appeared at the foot of Sarah's bed the next morning. Her eyes seemed angrier now. Sarah knew she had to end it. She took the doll to the old fire site, now an overgrown lot on the edge of town. There, she dug a hole and placed the doll inside, along with the journal. "You were loved," Sarah whispered. "You didn't deserve to be forgotten. I'm sorry." As she began to cover the hole, a sudden wind kicked up. Sarah looked around. For a brief second, she saw the figure of a little girl among the trees. Watching. Then gone. Back home, Emily was asleep peacefully for the first time in weeks. The whispers stopped. The crying ended. But sometimes, when the wind blew just right, Sarah could swear she heard a faint voice on the breeze.